Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. First of all, I hope that you can hear me and I hope that it's okay. I am kind of having a sore throat right now. I think it's the after effects of getting the infom, the vaccination from last week. So I am like having sore throat and kind of dealing with that. But I'm going to go ahead and do the meditation, and I'm going to see how far along I can go before my voice just totally gives out on me. But hopefully it won't, and hopefully I'll be able to get the meditation done. Before I start the meditation, I'm going to pull a tarot card because that's usually what I do when I start the meditation. I'm using the Gilded Tarot. This is what I always use. It's my usual go-to deck, and I'm going to just pull a card, and I'm going to see what the card will tell me about today's meditation. I also use another group of cards called the Angel cards. This is the box for them. And these are from a German magazine called Happiness, which is spelled with a Z at the end instead of an S. So it's just kind of a play on words. But anyway, it's a spiritual, uplifting magazine that I read, and it's in German, and sometimes they have like cards, free cards and stuff. And so that is what I'll be using. So let's just see what the tarot has to say first of all, and then I'll go into the meditation. I'm really, really happy that I finally got around to doing the meditation. I just have not been able to do anything with it for a while, for about a week now, because it's been so hot here. And now it's starting to get a little bit cooler, but not by much. It's still warm in the house. And I have to always close the window and close the door to I have to always close the window and doors because it's so loud outside, and I don't want to have that distraction while I'm doing the video. So I'm going to contend with the heat while I'm doing the video, and then as soon as I'm done, I'll turn the fan on, open up the house, and get some air through here. But at any rate, so this is where I'm at. So here's the card for today's meditation. It's good. It's the moon. And the moon is, I think it is digging into that small place within oneself to find the ability and well, let me do it this way. Let me read it from book, and then we'll see if it actually coincides with with today's meditation. And I'm not telling you, and intentionally, I'm not telling you what the meditation is about until we go into it, because then you can see, oh, and maybe there's that aha moment in there. And interestingly enough, I opened right up to the moon. Okay, the moon dimly lights the scene below. Dogs howl as the moon and crayfish rises from the water, representing the subconscious world. There is a sense of mystery in the entire scene. Oh, sorry, of course not high enough. The moon has long been recognized for the effects it has on all life forms. In gravitational pull upon the Earth causes the tides fish spawn at the time of full moon. As our bodies contain a large proportion of water, we also experience the same kind of magnetic pull that the moon has upon the Earth. Crime levels and births increase at the time of the full moon, with emotion and tempers running higher than usual. So there is much to be said for moon madness. Okay, the moon represents illusionary situations, possible decisions, deceptions, and feelings of uncertainty. Emotions are highly charged and fluctuating, like a pendulum swinging back and forth. Okay, so that is the moon. So, I guess that the idea, the concept of howling at the moon, is an actual reality when it comes to this card, because it is, the dog's howling at the moon. I never noticed the crayfish before, but yeah, the water, the effects of water on the water and things like that. The moon does have that impact and stuff, and it does cause things to fluctuate or to happen. And which is interesting because today's meditation is called inspiration, and it's about inspiration. Do we get inspired during the time of a full moon? Do we write interesting stories? Do we come up with ideas or different ideas? Or do we become stagnant in that in that notion that everything is kind of fall apart. So that is the card for the day. And then the inspiration. It's the name of the meditation. And these are from the happiness cards. Okay, so the word for the day, or the concept for today's inspiration, and I'll go ahead and get started on reading this so that I can get through it. Day number 11 is August 17th, 2025, and the word is inspiration. I said, finally, it feels like forever since I've been able to sit down and speak with you. Sunshine says, you are perfectly timed here. No worries. When it is time to have a chat, then you will be able to do so. Sometimes that is how it goes. You are listening to us in your day-to-day activities, and it is not necessary for you to force yourself to sit down and write, especially when you are not in the frame of mind to do so. I said, should I abandon rehashing these old meditations? And Sunshine says, perhaps, but then again, perhaps not. Sometimes going back to look at things that you have done somehow gives way for you to recognize the idea that you have changed and grown exponentially. The idea of doing this is not to force you to sit down and do it, but to give it a go and see what comes. Give it a try. Let's see how it goes. You are nearly halfway through the book. I said, okay. And then I started reading the meditation. You're the meaning to my life, you're the inspiration. The lyrics of that song from the 80s ring in my mind as I behold a simple word on a card. Did you ever notice that, and Sunshine says, did you ever notice that you have become an inspiration for others? The song you used in your mantra during your battle with cancer was called Sensation. You've always been what you see in others. It's not necessarily about gaining it from others. It's about taking it an idea and using it as a means to inspire others through simple acts or by merely being who you are. I said I've always found inspiration around me. The words of a loved one encouraging me to move forward, to persevere without hesitation, or to embrace the constant flow of ideas that keep coming into my mind. Interestingly enough, the word in German is the same as the English word. And Sunshine says, sort of gives way to it being a universal idea. And I said, yes, and perhaps the significance is that in both my native country and in my adopted country, the word is the same, with the same meaning. Sunshine says, it should not matter if it was two different words, Yvette. The ideas are universal. You will be inspired by a German song without translating it. In fact, have you noticed that you no longer need to translate things back into English? You understand it without question or hesitation. I said this enables me to share both without pushing myself to make long drawn-out interpretations or definitions. Inspiration is very much a part of my journey. Everything I strive to do generally starts as an inspired idea. Where will I take a story is generally a tool that becomes an inspired idea. Having written many stories during the past 30 years, it's a strong indication that I'm always looking for inspiration. Sunshine says, you find it often through dreams and various forms or placings of interesting or places. The interesting thing is how time passes between when you write something down or finish something old. I said, I hope to make that time to actually do the stories that I started. It has always been hard to allow the inspiration to continue to guide me. Some of my best stories have yet to be finished. Sunshine says, then you come into the idea of controlled inspiration. And I said, controlled inspiration? I don't follow. Sunshine says, inspiration is like water faucet with you. You turn it on, and then the ideas flow. You turn it off, and the ideas stop. The best way to deal with this is to allow yourself to explore one thing at a time. This does not mean that you dismiss the new ideas, but you explore the ones that you are working with more deeply. What happens when you read a book and then pick up a second or third book? Suddenly you have 4 or 5 books opened at various stages, and you have not completed anything. Your writing and inspirations are along those same lines. You want to write a great deal of your ideas, but you're getting new ideas, and then suddenly you have 80 stories. I said, you know me well. I probably have more works in progress than completed works. And Sunshine says, stands to reason. You yourself are a work in progress. I said, true enough. Shall I continue? She says, of course. When I go out and walk on an okay, this I continue. When I go out and walk for an extended period of time, I get ideas through nature and the people who pass me by. The thing about inspiration is that it comes in any given moment in time. Sunshine says, you have experienced that. Did you ever think you would pursue this channel? I said, no, I didn't. Now I'm trying to read tarot on it, and it's really growing on me. Sunshine says, you are truly expanding and growing. I said, yes, I never knew that with each day's meditation would be that I take a seat at the table, light a candle, draw a card, and just start writing. These ideas are my guides and angels feeding me into my spirit the words I need, and often the ideas just flow out of me like a steady stream of water along a stream or a brook. Other sources of inspiration would be a waterfall, a forest full of trees, a snowy path, and even the colors and textures of a pile of unfolded laundry. Why else do you suppose a cat can become so captivated watching clothes in a washing machine tumbling about? The colors of fabrics as they lay in the basket could inspire someone to paint a picture and create a sort of kaleidoscope image of something unique. I believe that we can find inspiration in a great many things. And Sunshine says that is why people were depressed during the pandemic. People could not go outside and explore the world. All they could do was stay at home. This is why it was so hard for you to write during that time. You saw nothing new and could do nothing to bring out these inspired ideas. This is why newness of life creates inspiring ideas. I said, when I was a kid, I heard stories from people who called themselves storytellers. They would create a story simply by opening their mouth and allowing a story to spring forward. And Sunshine says, now you will tell us a story. I said, I wrote this in an initial meditation back in January. She says, no matter. Tell us your story. I said, there was once a small tree that grew in a meadow. No trees were around it, and it was lonely. From day to day, it would watch as people walked through the meadow, but being so small, it felt insignificant. One day, a little boy was walking alongside his parents, a small plush toy in his hand. The parents were deep in conversation, leaving the boy alone with his thoughts. Eventually, they came upon the tree, and the little boy walked slowly over to it, distancing himself from his parents. In his mind, he felt lonely, and the tree somehow drew him closer and closer. Upon reaching the tree, the boy laid down his toy and wrapped his arms around the tree as far as they would go. Holding tightly to the tree, the boy smiled. Seconds later, his parents approached. What are you doing? The father asked. The tree looked lonely, the boy responded, his innocent words filling his parents' ears. Trees can't feel lonely, the mother objected. Why not? The boy asked. It's a living thing, and all living things feel lonely sometimes. The mother was struck silent by her son's innocent words, but somehow the father understood. His son, like the tree, felt lonely. Sometimes, and realizing this, he silently vowed to become more attentive to his son. In the days that followed, the parents would bring their son to visit the tree every day, and each day the boy would end his visit with a hug against the tree. In the years to come, more trees were planted in the meadow, and as the boy grew, so too did the trees in the meadow. Soon the boy would have a family of his own, and he would bring his children to the meadow as well. So beautiful, said Sunshine. The tree grew as does the human understanding. Contained in that story is also a message to be there for each other. To sense of community will grow, and as years pass, you will look back on these difficult times and remember how significant it is to hold on to one another. I said, it is that indication of what is coming? Is that an indication of what is coming? Sunshine says, yes. It is a direct indication of the future. But in order to see positive change, each individual must see the positivity that you wish to see. Now finish this and then we can end for today. I said that story is inspiration. It's a small but truly inspired. When I saw when I started writing it, I had no idea where it was going to go. Many may today be filled with inspired ideas. And Sunshine said, and so it is. And that's where we ended. So the the idea of I think the idea of what Sunshine said at the end of that story is absolutely what Kathy asked with regards to where the U.S. is going to go in the near future. And so after reading that story, what became clear to me as I was writing this down was the idea that that if we hold on to our communities, if we hold on to each other, as the boy held on to that tree, we will find answers and we will find our way through this. We will be able to navigate our way through all of this stuff that's happening. And through the small amount of inspiration, we will be able to come through and make our way through the situation. But I'm going to go into Kathy's question now, and I'm going to pull tarot and see what the future looks like for the U.S. And holding this stuff in mind, holding it in mind that we can individually, we can embrace that notion of community. We can go out and hug that tree. We can go out and help each other. We can be there for each other and help our neighbor in need. So, where is the U.S. going in relation to all of this? Because this is the question that is being asked. Where is the U.S. going in relation to all of this? And keep in mind, I was going to actually do this separately and do it tomorrow as a reading, but I feel so inspired right now to do it in conjunction with the meditation because this is the question that we're all asking. Where are we going? Where is this going? Um, is there an inspired idea to why it is that I want to read this now? Perhaps. So let's see. Where is the U.S. Sometimes I have to sometimes shuffle the cards in the opposite direction so that the cards don't get so bent because I do not want the cards bent. Okay, so where is the U.S. going? What does the future look like for the U.S.? Um, where is the U.S. going? Good, the Tower. I don't know if I need to pull any more cards, but this is where it's going. It will be sudden and it will be fast. And because the tower represents that collapse of perhaps the government, and it represents that sense that things are going to come falling down very, very fast. This also implies the idea that we have the potential for growth, and we have the potential to come through it with flying colors. It is crossed with the King of Wands. Now, I'm going to pull the book because I want to make sure that I get this good as far as the card is concerned, because I think that it's very, very important for us to really recognize what the cross is. The king in this card is focused upon the fire at the tip of his wand. His throne appears to be set in the sky, perhaps an indication of how he is influenced by his many creative ideas. Um, they're often found as entrepreneurs and full of creative ideas. This coincides with inspiration. This coincides with inspiration. So, although things may be falling, and it may happen quickly, We can be inspired by our creativity. We can be inspired by the things that we decide to do. If we decide to hug that tree, if we decide to help our neighbor, if we decide to start a food bank, or if we decide to help by giving to a food bank, if we decide to do all of these things, we are helping to make this not so intense. So the creativity of the King of Wands is the idea of inspiration, of inspiring ourselves to overcome. And so that is the cross. That is where the tower, the impacts of the tower could be a little bit gentler or more gentle. I don't know if gentler is a word, but anyway. Underlying that, all of this is the Eight of Cups. If you, as you notice, this guy has turned his back on all of these cups, and he is walking away. And so this is, I think this is the idea of walking away from old ideas in order to find something new. And I think that that is, once this all falls apart, then there's going to be a lot of people walking away from these old ideas, these outdated ideas that are not serving anybody. And that is where we are actually at. In the immediate past, we have the Seven of Swords, and this is the trying to collect. This guy is trying to collect all of these swords. He's trying to collect all of these things, but he's not able to because he's overburdened by it. So you have him holding five or so of the swords, and these others are down here, and he's kind of walking away from it too because he knows that there's no way that he's going to be able to collect all of these things, and that's kind of where we're at. The overarching energy is temperance. And this is the balance. This is the overwhelming balance that's going to come about through all of this. So we are finding a balance within ourselves to reach this point of overcoming these obstacles and these issues that are wearing us down. And temperance is that balance, that sense of balance. In the immediate future, we have the Two of Swords, which is about choices. And sometimes I call it taking a blind choice. It's like we're going to have to make some decisions about what we want, what's important to us, and what we want to accomplish or achieve through our actions and through our handlings of things. Next, we have the Three of Cups. This is I always notice these, they look like fairies, but they're dancing. And I think that this is the hopes and fears. This is that energy of trying to find the good in all of the things that are going on and being able to be open to that good. And contrary to everything that's happening, we're going to try and find the best that we can out of the situation. How others see us as the Queen of Cups. This is again, the royal cards are always for me just kind of difficult. So let me find her. Let me find her. She's lovely. Okay. The Queen of Cups is the kind, gentle, sensitive, and thoughtful, charming, socially polite, creative, and artistic. Okay, so this is the kind-hearted queen. This is the feminine energy. And what I think is going on is I think that people want to see the feminine basically override all of this toxic masculinity that's going on in the world right now. We've got all these buff guys, pulling up their chests and going, "I'm so tough and I can do everything I want." But the reality is, kindness and sensitivity is not a weakness. And when people start to realize that kindness and compassion are not a weakness, then they will manifest this notion, this feminine energy that says that we are good, we are kind, and we care for each other. And this is how let's see, this is how we see ourselves, and this is how we see the world, I believe. And this is just the Six of Cups. We just see all these people saying mine, 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 and wanting, wanting, wanting more, only for themselves, only for their own well-being. And what's happening is I think that one of the things that's happening in the US is people are starting to realize that all of the things that are happening are affecting them. And they are affected by the things that are going on in the US. They are affected directly by it. And once it affects them, then they start to understand why it is that this is awful and that this is just terrible. And I think that what it is that people are starting to come to this point where they're saying, this is really awful. We don't want this. This is absolutely terrible. But yet people are kind of still entrenched in that idea of if it doesn't affect me, then I don't care. And as soon as it affects me, then I'm going to care and I'm going to, protest. And I think that is where we're at right now. The final outcome is the Nine of Swords. This is sleepless nights. This is worry, distress. And I think that the US is still going to be contending in the near future with a lot of worry and distress because one person is not the absolute end all be all to all the problems. When the big fat orange problem is no longer a problem, if you will, there's still people who have his ideology out there. And this is where the energy needs to be focused on, is trying to change that. And I think that this is the worry and the concern that we all have. We all know and we all realize that the big fat orange problem is not the only one who is got this twisted ideology, that there are more people out there who have that same ideology. But the problem is that the big fat orange problem is the personification of all that's wrong with the US. And this is for entertainment purposes only. I'm only just some woman pulling cards just to see what I get. But I think in the near future, I think that people are going to have a lot of sleepless nights. They're going to have a lot of worry and a lot of concern. And that's when they're going to depend on each other to get through. And I think that that's where the whole idea comes into being. You have to allow yourself to be inspired, and you have to allow yourself the opportunity to feel the sadness that you feel about what's going on, but you also have to find the balance. Next card I get is the Queen of Pentacles. Okay, we got a lot of royals here. The Queen of Pentacles is, I think that the Queen of Pentacles is usually materially secure. By nature, she tends to be warm, generous, practical, money conscious, and often successful at anything she undertakes. So, this is the feminine energy of success. We will be successful, but we will have to go through some of this before we get there. And then we got the Devil card. And the Devil is that change. The Devil energy is the recognition of the negative energy that's out there and the recognition that this is what's going on. And once we recognize this, once we see this, I think this is in conjunction with this. The devil is that want, that need, even if it's not realistic and even if it's not rational, that is what he encompasses. That is what that energy is. And so it's the recognition of that and to be able to say, okay, yeah, that's what it is. And then finally we have the Eight of Pentacles, and that is the success and this guy has created something. He has created something beautiful and he is showing it. He is bringing it to fruition. And I think that that's what we can look forward to, is that this all of this will be brought to fruition, and we will find the outcome that we seek. So that's what I got with the cards. I hope that that answers the question. But I was kind of stunned that I got the Tower card right at the beginning of the reading, because this is what's coming. This is what is coming. We will have that Tower moment, and regardless of what people think, we will have the Tower moment. The Tower moment is going to be the the Tower moment is going to be the straw that breaks the camel's back. That's how I get what I get, is that the Tower is the straw that breaks the camel's back, and it is the and it is that sense that in the coming weeks we are going to have that, we're going to experience that Tower moment, but there's going to be some falling out from it. I mean, this isn't going to be easy. And just because things may come to light and we will find truth in what's going on, it will not be easy. I'm not going to sit here and cast aspersions on the idea of whether or not it's going to be easy. It is going to be difficult. But if we stick together and we hold on to our faith and we hold on to each other, then we will come through. I'm going to ask the yes or no cards. Will we come through all of this soon? Will we come through all of this soon? And I'm asking soon as in like by the end of the year. Will we come through all of this by the end of 2025? Will we come through all of this by the end of the year 2025? No, we won't. Will we come through it by the end of 2026? Will we be at the end of this by the end of 2026? Blank card. Everything is still in the air. We don't know. We don't know what's going to happen. So we have to hold on to each other. We have to keep our communities intact. We have to keep ourselves in a mindset where we don't put too much emphasis on all the stuff that's happening around us. Yes, there's a lot happening in the news. Yes, there's a lot happening in the world. But we have to maintain an idea that this too shall pass, and that if we hold on to each other and we hold on to our guides and our inspirations and our friends and our families and our communities, we will come through it. I wish I could say that this is going to be absolutely finished by the end of the year, or that this is going to be finished by the end of next year. I got a few days ago, I got that the big fat orange problem might, let's just ask this. Will the big fat orange problem be out of office by the midterms, by November 2026? Will the big fat orange problem be out of office by the midterms 2026? Yes. So that's the hope that we got. So that's all I got for you today. I hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you for sticking with me. This has been a long meditation, but I really do need to get going. I have to make some lunch, and then I have to go for a walk. Got to get outside, get away from the internet, get away from all that, and see what the day is going to bring. So I wish you a wonderful day. Take care, and as always, namaste.